Hey, folks, it's Lindsey Harrelson with SBS back in the building for another episode of the SBS Edge Show. And I got my crew, the crews all here. Got Coach Orlando Watkins, Terry McCord Jr. They was looking for you, man. It was APB put out there like, where the young fella? They said, where the young? Did they say that, Orlando?
Everybody missed him.
Everybody missed it. They said, where the young fella at? I said, oh, my bad. He just out right now. No, you know what we said? We was talking too much Michigan stuff. You're like, I'm not being on this show.
Well, was that it?
We talked about Hunter Dickinson. We talked about Coach Harbaugh. We talked about Mimi Bolden. It was like he was like, "Oh no, I'm not doing this. It's not gonna happen." But we're glad to have you back, man. And just put it out there. We're gonna have you next week, but probably on the week of the 19th for our listeners. We'll probably take that show off. I know, Terry, you had some prior commitments, and then I had one as well. So we'll just give it a break. But right now we're here, man. Got a lot of great stuff to talk about. We even trying to figure out how we can put more stuff in. But I'll just start with our first topic today. This is always great news when people get great opportunities. I want to pull up my guy, Coach EJ Harrelson. I know I put his image up. Get out of here. If not, I'm gonna get it. But it's on the flyer that we put out there, and I'll go find it. But Coach EJ Harrelson is a great dude. He just took over the new role as head coach at Schoolcraft College. Great story about this, and this is all public information, so I'm not speaking out of class. He's always been great and supportive of the things that we've been doing, particularly with the when we had the pandemic and we were bringing the coaches together. He always lends a very intelligent, powerful voice. But because Wayne State moved on when the coach resigned, they were pretty much going to clean house. So Terry, what they did is they gave Coach Harrelson and others up until June 30th. And that was public information up until June 30th to still be basically on payroll and still hold the title until they moved on. This brother got a job starting July 1st. I mean, come on, man. Talk about some grace. That's when you say, is he out here doing right by the world? And he definitely is. He definitely is. So I definitely want to wish him congratulations. Throughout the rest of the show, what I'm going to do is go back and work a little bit harder to pull up an image of him because he deserves to get his due. But a good brother. He's been very supportive of SBS and the platform. Orlando, you know EJ in his tenure at Wayne State, long-time assistant coach. What's your thoughts on him taking over the job at Schoolcraft? And let's be honest, this is a big deal because with this transfer portal now and pretty much every graduate getting kicked down a year because of what these D1 programs are wanting, this may be the hottest train in town right now with Schoolcraft College. But what do you think, Orlando?
Oh, just congratulations out front, well deserved. And I hope that he does a good job because you may not know this, Lindsey, but I am alumni. Yeah, I am an Ocelot.
Ocelot, we got it right here.
I am an Ocelot, and actually, I did play at Schoolcraft.
Oh,
and then, believe it or not, I'm gonna give you another one. I played for my father, who was head coach of Schoolcraft men's program for 11 years.
Get out of there. I did not know that. So tell me this. What's an Ocelot?
It's a fancy name. It's a fancy name for a little tiger.
Oh, okay. Help me out. Help me out. I'm going to win trivia somewhere in my life. I'm going to hit the buzzer. Ocelot. Right. Terry, you follow basketball in the Metro Detroit area. You haven't had a chance to meet EJ, but he's a great, great guy. Was teammates with Desmond Ferguson at UAD. He has his own brand as well. I want to say EJ Signature, and I want to make sure throughout the course of the show we'll get an image of him up. But when you hear about a coach that's had great success at Wayne State as a assistant coach, he takes over at a major community college program in the Metro Detroit area. What's your thought as it relates to recruiting opportunities or just where these players are going to end up going? Because with the transfer portal, as we know, and we'll talk about that a little later, everybody's not getting on the road, going to these D1 opportunities and whatnot. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it takes a special kind of guy or a woman to coach community college ball. I think, I would like to think that community college sports is more so of like investment in players. You're spending a lot of time with them. You got different players coming from different worlds, coming with the same goal to get to the next level. Those that, may have went D1 and are trying to get back to that level, having to come back. So I think with a guy and the way that you describe it, I hope I get to meet him one day. just being able to like be a great voice, being a great person. Those are great. Those are great characteristics as a coach, no matter what the level is, but especially community college, because those are players that may end up being in the portal that a coach would love to have. And so he can be a part of that, that industry of like having players come in, making them so good, and then being able to have coaches like Izzo, Howard, pull those guys from your program and to be a great program, a player feeder for different D1 programs. So I think that's something that's probably on his mind. And it'd be really interesting because usually the assistant coach on a basketball team is definitely more in tune with the players. And so it'd be really cool to see how he takes that kind of skill set as an assistant, now being as a head coach. Similar area too. So it's not like he's really going too far. So maybe he has some great recruiting pipelines in the area and so on. Because, I mean, community college, you can pull guys from anywhere. So a great guy who knows what it takes to get to the next level and can pour into the players that he's getting the next couple of years.
Very well put. And here he is right here. Welcome, Coach EJ Harrelson, head men's basketball coach. I am an ocelot. There you go, Orlando. Hey, and he knew he was getting the job because he dressed for the picture, right?
Right. But Lindsey, not just to, I'm probably going to add it to the rumor mill, but for the past couple of years, with the expansion that school has been going through, there has been talk that may become a 4 year sooner than we think.
Okay. Oh, okay. Moving up, similar. I think Henry Ford College talked about that too, and that's happening a lot. What happens is these schools get the academic standing where they can pretty much be a 4 year institution. So, I mean, don't sleep on those. And then to Terry's point too, you talk about those relationships. He's so well respected, and he's so about preparing these young people. So anyone who gets a chance to rock out with him at Schoolcraft is going to set themselves up for some new opportunity. We got our guy Aaron Mays saying what's up. I always keep a picture of Aaron on deck just to check in with us and whatnot. Where's Aaron at? He around here somewhere. Thought I had him in here, man. I'm slipping, man. I thought I have a picture of Aaron on deck. Yeah, I did. I know I got a picture. There you go. Yeah. Aaron saying what's up. We got to get a picture of all of us together. But Aaron, we hope you're doing okay, man. Just talking about some good things going on right here. We got some nice things in the chat that are consistent with what we're going to be talking about today. So with that being said, we want to wish EJ all the best. We want to move on to another person with Detroit ties. I got another guy. Hey, man, this is the season to get on. We want to talk about Joey D taking over, getting a new role with the NBA. He's taking on the role of director of basketball operations for the entire NBA. I mean, talk about respect. I mean, that type of role, he was a longtime GM for the Pistons. And, after he won his championships, people wanted to, give him grief and all that stuff. He's been with the Kings organization for a significant amount of time. I mean, something has to be said about someone who can be a world champion. And look at both him and Isaiah. Isaiah is pretty much an ambassador for the NBA now as well. But talk about brothers doing their thing. I met Joey D, of course, you see him as a player, but I remember meeting him when they were opening Joe Dumars Fieldhouse that you know about, Orlando, at State Fairgrounds. This is when Governor Granholm was doing that. And I have to say, Terry, I was one of the first guys to shoot a shot when he opened it up. I had to rush to the court and get there. And shout out to Scott Perry, who's in the front office with the New York Knicks. He was there with us. He called me Moses Malone, Terry. He said I was playing big like Moses Malone. But no, shout out to Joe Dumars, man. Great dude. What do you think about when you hear that, Orlando, that Joe Dumars has landed this new role?
Actually, it's not surprising at all. Like I said, I had the opportunity to meet him once. Just a fantastic stand-up guy.
Yeah,
well deserved.
Yeah. As I go to you, Terry, we think about people like the Monty Williams of the world, the Willie Green, of course, and these brothers who get these opportunities, man. I think the NBA, man, they got their pick of the litter of who they can pick up, man. But they sure do go through and make sure they get high-quality guys, because just with the guys that I've named, and I'm sure there's other people that we can talk about, but those are all stand-up guys, man. And, and one can make the argument that for a brother to get a job in the league, he got to walk on water compared to somebody else. But the reality is that, no doubt, the people that they have in those roles are definitely representing. So what do you think about, Terry, when you hear that Joe Dumars is taking on the role of director of basketball operations for the entire NBA?
I think it's a big shout out to his character. I think the NBA knows what kind of guy they're getting, that is a part of the NBA brand now. He represents the whole league. And so I think when you make a big hire like that, that's for the whole league. I think you have to take account to all things. I mean, he's a winner. Obviously, he's been in the management field, and he knows, he's a player, so he knows what the players kind of want. And he's just a guy that's always been around in the game, just like you mentioned with Isaiah, Monty Williams, and like guys that like have a high quality of character that want to give back, want to be a part of the game, and want to be a part of the future. And I think, him getting that role doesn't surprise me either. He's always seemed to be committed to the brand of the NBA and always want what's best for all people that's a part of this brand. And so, big kudos to him because, I mean, he's a guy, we know what he can do on the court, but then when we see what he can do off the court, and now he gets promoted to a larger role, it's really dope to see. It's really cool to kind of like predict what will happen with him being in this role. And so it just opens the door for new people. I mean, Adam Silver, a guy, I would say he's a very stand-up guy. And for them to really bring in another stand-up guy like Joe Dumars really shows what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring a different kind of class act to the NBA.
Yeah, and you got that. Deion, whose page was right on time. He actually put this out right before we moved to this topic. He said, thoughts on Joe Dumars and his new gig with the NBA. I always felt Joe Dumars, while was great in running the Pistons, hurt them at the end, trading for Allen Iverson. Yeah, and I mentioned that too about how people responded to him. But I think, in Orlando, about this, man. When you have a long trajectory of attempting to be successful, you're going to have some, issues within that time. I mean, at the time, you got to think about it. Every probably would agree. Oh, yeah, bring Allen Iverson here. We go, man, the city was on fire. We knew AI was coming to town. Matter of fact, I ended up seeing him out that one night, right when he came in. What do you think, Orlando?
Yeah, when you said that, when he came in, that was more of, I mean, to me, that really wasn't a basketball trade. That was a ticket sales trade.
Right.
So, and then you're right. If you're in the driver's seat that long, you're going to hit a bump or two along the way. But as long as you keep
we got chips.
Great. Right.
He delivered those chips. Let's not forget that. But see, that's what happens. Terry, I'll go to you, but I remember someone making reference to Alabama at one time. It may have even been Nick Saban, his classic line. He was like, what y'all want from me? He's like, I gave y'all all these championships. And then, when you don't win, and like he almost Gino Amareno, you got to help me with that, Terry, out of Connecticut. Same thing. When they start to decline, it's almost like they got to have that mea culpa and be like, look, man, it's not going to always be like that, and people get up, these fans get fanatic. What do you think, Terry?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think, with someone like that, I've noticed too a trend in the NBA. I mean, of course, winning is important, but when you have a guy that understands the game and that understands what it is to produce and have great outcome on the floor, whether it's having a winning season, having the fans excited. We felt that energy in Detroit. I mean, Detroit was a basketball culture when he was in the front office. So he had bumps in the road, but I mean, at the end of the day, he got us up to go to the Palace in Auburn Hills and cheer the Pistons on. I mean, the GM, we win in games. The GM's job is to win games, but the GM's job is also for the fanatics. Hey, come watch the Pistons play. And I feel like he did that well. And to have someone like that going into a position where he covers the whole league now, it'll be interesting to see what kind of culture he'll bring, because we saw the Detroit basketball culture, really emerge during his time. And it felt like the Bad Boys days, which he was a part of. So he knew what it took to get Detroit's energy back up. And so him having this role is a no-brainer for me. Yeah,
it says a lot about what he's been doing behind the scenes. And you're right. People's memories are real short. Man, deliver you a championship, but then you want to get mad at him. I'm not speaking to anyone in particular, but that's why I made that comment out the gate. Like, people was kind of like calling for his head at one point. With that, man, let's thank our sponsors, particularly Horatio Williams and the Horatio Williams Foundation. Shout out to our guy H, Horatio, doing his thing, making great things happen. We're appreciative of him, as well as Dick's Sporting Good, as well as Gilead Sciences as well. Keep moving. I saw somebody make a comment already. I want to talk about this coaching search. The Lakers have asked for permission to interview assistant Darvin Hamm for the head coach opening. He got Detroit ties. I want to say from Saginaw. Mother was a longtime mayor of Saginaw, and he's been another guy that's been quietly behind the scenes, man. If you would have asked me a couple months ago, where's Darvin Hamm, man? I was like, I don't know. Now he's been over there with that championship culture. I want to shout out who made that comment. Somebody was talking about that. One of your good friends, Terry. Wait a minute, give me a second. It was it Letitia? But it was somebody else. Hold on. Oh, Letitia. Letitia said, "Don't no big time coach want the Lakers job. I think sometimes people make the Lakers job big time over others. Coaching the diva LeBron James is hard. Ooh, and probably a headache, Letitia.
No lie about that.
You say he more diva than me? What, Letitia? First of all, Lakers job will always be a big time job in my opinion because it's LA, baby. It's LA. It's Hollywood. It's going to always be a big-time gig. Just like we were saying with the Pistons, you had those low points. Remember with Kobe, you couldn't even tell me who else was on the team with Kobe other than Ronnie Turioff or whatnot. It has its ebb and flow, but that's going to always be a landing spot. But let me go back to you, Letitia. You say, I didn't know you felt that way about LeBron. You said coaching the diva, LeBron James. It's hard. It's problematic. She don't care, do she? Did she say Mark Jackson looking like he might get the Kings coach out? What I'll say to that is that's what normally happens with these coaching conversations. You hearing Darvin? I think a lot of it is distraction. You hearing Darvin Hamm, you hearing Mark Jackson, but watch, some Italian cat come in from somewhere else.
Jay Wright, that's close.
Right.
I guess you're right. And I still try to stand by that. Also too, they said that it's been noted, and you can argue good, bad, or indifferent, that Phil Jackson is significantly involved in the Lakers coaching search. So you wonder, like they say, he was involved in getting Coach Vogel there. And I'm gonna say something here, and y'all you say, Lindsay, you wrong, leave that one alone. But would Phil Jackson try to sabotage whoever the coach is so they don't have a better coaching opportunity and coaching record than him?
Nah, because he's still gonna get props for making that happen. I mean, he's gonna toot his own horn. Like, man, I caused this coach to come here.
So what made him think that Frank Vogel was gonna work out? When I heard Frank Vogel, I said, Frank Vogel? I said, come on, man, what y'all doing? So what do you think about that coaching search overall? Do you think this is who they're gonna land on or what?
Man, I saw Hamm's the rumor that Hamm got the approval from Clutch Sports and LeBron. So I don't know if that's true, but once you get past that layer, I think
say that so Letitia can hear you one more time.
I think once you get past that layer of of expertise, I should say, Le GM or whatever they like to call him. But once you get past him and Rich Paul and them kind of sign off on you, I mean, you kind of get yourself in a nice place of company because you really start to get serious. But I wouldn't really count it too early. I feel like people are really trying to point at a guy, but I think we're far from that. I think it's going to be a long off season, and it's going to be really interesting to see what moves they make. I mean, there have been rumors saying should the Lakers be trying to trade Anthony Davis, which I think should be something to explore just based off history of injuries and inconsistent play. I mean, we're even seeing ESPN talk so crazy about trading LeBron James.
I know.
So I think it's just everyone just kind of running around with their head cut off and not really sure where to go. But I like him. I like his approach to the game. I like how I'm sure Giannis has great things to say about him. He probably doesn't want him to leave. But I mean, the Bucks are so locked in that I think that it's not really going to be taken as serious unless they get knocked out this next round.
Well, here's the one thing I'll say. It don't matter who you look for. If your coach that you choose to coach the Los Angeles Lakers with LeBron James cannot pull a Ty Lue and cuss LeBron out, you ain't going to win no championship.
I was going to say, yeah, that's true.
Because Ty Lue played mind games with LeBron. He challenged LeBron. He called him out, and he called him out in a way that LeBron was able to understand and relate. LeBron tore the room up, threw furniture around, and went out there and did something major. So I think that's what it comes down to because you got to be able to challenge him in a way. And Ty Lue was an expert at being able to do that. So Darvin Hamm, whatever, unless you got a way to cut into him a certain kind of way, and I almost got to say a little hood way about it, you go get what you go get. What do you think, Orlando?
I don't know. I think this is going to be a long process. I'm still thinking. I think Hamm's a great coach, but Jay, right? I'm still thinking that route. I'm thinking it's watch my left hand, so I can so you won't see what's coming up with the right.
Okay.
To be quite honest.
We're gonna keep an eye out for that. Definitely will keep an eye out for that. We'll keep moving through this, guys. And now, let's just take a break, man. Talk about some NIL, man. We got a lot of NIL updates to give. For example, man, it's been so much happening with this. You guys have been making me aware of what's happening, and we said we're going to continue to give NIL updates going forward. So here it is right now. So many things happen. I know you had shared with me maybe a week or so ago, Orlando, some things about the University of Miami, but one thing I want to bring up right now that I remember looking at is really what's happening with, it was the University of Miami basketball player holding Miami booster hostage, and it's the NCAA's fault. I don't know how much was it, what, $300,000 or something like that?
Around that number.
Wow, wow. What do you think, Terry, when you hear about that? I don't know how familiar you may be with it, but the game has changed. It's an arms race now. The money that these guys are starting to negotiate for is astronomical. It's nothing to say we'll give you $100,000 to come over here and do what you do. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing that, in football as well. I mean, I remember the screenshot I sent you all about, Cincinnati, Houston, and all those teams trying to join, a different conference. It's like, and they're willing to pay the big money to leave too, because they're understanding that, yes, it helps us getting in the playoffs, but two, players want to be seen. And a lot of times, man, these endorsements don't come unless they see you make that big play or see you make that big catch on ESPN. So it's like a lot of these implications of trying to get an endorsement do have to come with your overall team success. And I think too, having that receiver out of at Pitt that's looking to transfer and in and out. I can't think of his name right now, but he's like kind of in the portal, out of it, might be staying at Pitt, might be going to USC. I mean, we're seeing USC pick guys, pick the best product just because they have that spend, that the money that's able to be spent to get the top tier players. And it's like the Wild Wild West. I mean, I saw Jody Clemens post on Facebook today. He's like, man, if this was here when I was there, I need to go back and see if I got some more eligibility left. It's just crazy. I mean, you got people leaving the portal, entering the portal, just because they see the opportunities. And now, like we mentioned back a couple months ago, we're like, players are thinking now my brand instead of my play, because they understand that if you establish your brand, it can lead to your play, but also your brand can take you most places that football won't. It's sad to say that now today. Like, you can be a top influencer on TikTok, Instagram, or whatever. You can make more money doing that and do that longer than you can doing football. It's just facts now. So it's just players are definitely shifting their mode. You can't really comfort their motivation of the sport, because I think the love of the sport is still there. But I think now with the way that this social media has transformed players now, it's just definitely has taken more of the attention, because that's where the money's at. And they have people in their ear that are saying, hey, come film this, come do this, come do this. And that may be taking them out of their film session, their workout session, their off season, socializing with their teammates. Unfortunately, there's a plus and a minus. And I think that plus is really in the players' ears a lot more than the minus is.
Yeah, very well put, man. My thing is that I just wonder eventually in the next 3 to 5 years when we can do like an aggregate of people who've had success with name, image, and likeness deals, and see if that crosses over to them having success on the field or on the court, male or female.
Yeah.
And let's just see, are the biggest NIL deals from when a kid came in as a freshman and they got him a truck and, had $1 million and got this big deal. Do you see it being a correlation with them having success, or the same people that came in that freshman year, are they going to have more success? I think once we see that and get those numbers and we can kind of do a case study on that, that's going to let us know, because you made some good points, Terry, but it's like my concern has always been that you're late to practice because you're doing the NIL deal. My concern has always been that you're losing focus and you're becoming too brand orientated, where you lose your opportunity to get long bread. Let's say at the end of the day, man, NBA, NFL, all those professional leagues, they want winners. They want to know that you won.
Right.
And that's going to be more effort they're going to put. Somebody right on time that we all know and love, Patricia England. Hey, mama. She said, goes to show how much money has been available over the years, not given to the players. Young people get paid. Yeah, that's a mama talking right there. She right. Yeah, oh, you got all that money now. What you got, Orlando?
But see, my thing is, even in this environment right now, is still in its infancy. And right now,
Right.
you're gonna see the closest thing to the Wild Wild West that you've ever seen. And my thing is this whole situation that's happening at Miami by literally holding a booster hostage. The booster offers the NIL for about $300,000 to an incoming player. Now I have an existing player looked at his NIL deal and like, well, hold on. I'm going into the portal unless you pay me more. Now, but what are the rules? The rules haven't clearly been defined.
The rules are the first one to do it, get it.
Right. And for me, his threat, either give me the money, I'm going in the transfer portal. So that team you thought you were building no longer exists. How does a coach manage that?
Well, I wonder what may happen with that, and with the NCAA getting ready to transition to new leadership, if they'll do like they do with the federal government, they'll say, okay, the feds will kick it down to the states. So the NCAA will be the fed, and they'll kick it down to the schools and say it's up to the schools to determine their own NIL deal. Because if the NCAA starts making the NIL restrictions and creating that, you lose everything, because it goes back to that same old organization doing that and making those things happen. So we got to keep an eye on that, man. But that's huge right there. So we'll see what happens, see if he gets it going forward. We thank you, Mother, for your comment. So with that being said, we're going to keep it moving, man. This is a big question I have for everybody. We got a lot of comments loaded up, ready to go. And that question is, is Lavar Ball to thank for Tee Morant? And what I mean by that is, we see him. He's his own brand right now, if you will. There's a little bit of hate going on around him. Like, for example, I'm gonna throw some. This is Tion. Tion made sure you put Magic on here. He got rid of that pink screen from before. Tee Morant, the man. Steph Curry and all the NBA dudes come up to him, so he feels he's someone. Yeah, he is the man, and I think that he ain't doing nothing but just showing up. But again, what I like to say, got Tay in the building. Tay said, "Hey, gentlemen, it's been a long time." Tee Morant, this man having this time of his life, he has become a star in some ways. He had Usher, that's right. He had Usher with them one game, and Yo Gotti and Moneybagg Yo the next game. He loves the spotlight. Yeah, I mean, he's receiving the benefit of his labor. But I wonder, had it not been for Lavar Ball and pretty much the harder road he had to go, if the league and everyone would be receiving Tee Morant the way they are, because we saw this before in Lavar Ball, but we felt he, came off a certain kind of way. We felt he was a certain kind of way, and kind of people pushed back on that. But I wonder how much of a role did he play in allowing us to be able to just accept this? And also, too, did Tee Morant take a page out of Lavar Ball's book and say, look, let me try to keep my words down. I'm just going to come to the game and sit, and that be enough. Terry, what you think about that?
Man, Tee Morant, I think, he's a great personality. Definitely, definitely eye-popper personality, the stuff he says and the stuff he does on the side of the court. I mean, people love seeing that. I mean, he's a funny guy. He's entertaining. He's yelling.
If I could just say, he doesn't really do anything outside the ordinary. He just cheers.
No, I thought he was a regular courtside fan the first time I saw him. But then I did my research on it. I was like, oh, that's John's
dad. You did your Young Jedi research and found out what you had to find out?
Yeah, I had to find out, because I'm like, this dude is going crazy. But that's how a father should, when his son is doing what he's worked so hard to do. And so I think Lavar has definitely caused a lot of parents to kind of change their mindset. Their child is an investment. I mean, you hate to be so business about it, but at the same time, it's like, man, I'm putting him in these different rooms, these different classrooms, different trainings if he's an athlete. I'm putting him in different workshops if he wants to be a doctor when he grows up. You're trying to prepare him to what he wants to be. And I think Tee Morant understands how bad Ja wanted it. I mean, not being recruited highly, going to Murray State, getting drafted number 2, being in Zion's shadow for his first couple of years, and now he's finally made his own way. I think Tee Morant sees that, and he's been there supporting his son all the way. And so I think it's been really cool to see that. I think Kendrick Perkins makes a great point. I think a lot of the reason why African-American males and African-American people are so happy to see this is because a lot of, when we've been affected by the fatherless curse in our race, it's something that needs to be talked about. It's something that needs to be celebrated, that we see a father cheering on their son, seeing a father, because, we understand the importance of a father's role in the child's life. And so when we see that and we see him celebrating, getting money, winning games and making big plays, that's something that we celebrate a little bit more because it means something different. A white man who's on ESPN won't understand why us African Americans are celebrating this so bad and why we defend Lavar, defend Tee, defend Del Curry, going crazy on the sideline with his family for Steph. Like, they won't understand that. And and it's something that, it's the elephant in the room. Like, they will never get that. But I think it's really dope to see that we get it, because then we get to celebrate it, and then more fathers can step up, and those that are already in their life can continue to be motivated to be great fathers. So I think it's a great all-around thing, honestly.
Yeah, I'll get you as well. I want to just say, I'll get you right now, Orlando. But Ja Morant is a must-see TV right now. The big debate is better. Is he better than D Rose in the same stage 3 years in the NBA? That's a hard one. I have to go back there. Look, the question become regarding the playoffs. I think he's had more success with the potential for the playoff runs. And to Tion's point, I want to go back to that. Tee Morant, the man, Steph Curry, and all the NBA dudes come up to him, so he feels he's someone. Yeah, but I think it's something to be said that they want to go reach out to him. I mean, They reach out to him like it's Floyd Mayweather on the baseline, whatever, whatnot. But with that being said, what do you think, Orlando, about the whole Tee Morant thing? One thing I want to add too is it's almost sad. It's a sad story that a black man rooting for his kid at an NBA game is a story. Because you think about it, you don't see it. We see mama, we see KD mama, we see the girlfriend, or we see all that, but just a dad there for his son is just another thing. So what do you think, Orlando?
You said it right there, Lindsay. I mean, that's exactly what was going to come out of my mouth. It's a shame, but the narrative that the media is spinning, is starting with the Balls. Okay, great. He's a character, but you have a black man supporting and pushing his son, and that's what he's supposed to do. But it became a spectacle at that point. I think it's very odd that you have two men that have pushed their sons, helped their sons, done whatever, and then all of a sudden we question their presence in supporting their sons. Why should this be an issue? He should be there front and center. So
like all of a sudden you're doing too much. Well, I'm a big fan of Tee Morant. I'm a big fan of what's going on, but I just really think that Lavar Ball, right, wrong, and indifferent, really took the brunt of that experience, which made a way for Tee Morant. Like I said, he may have even said, "Let me play it cool," because you really think about it, I rarely know how his voice sounds. We don't necessarily hear him.
He's pretty cool,
but it's because he's coming out, and then now it's all about what celebrity want to sit next to T at the game. So ain't no telling. I wonder if Jay-Z will work his way back around in a minute. That's how that goes, With that, we'll see. I just want to take a quick break, man, and thank our sponsors again. Being able to have the support of Horatio Williams and the Horatio Williams Foundation, always doing big things. Gilead Sciences as well, and one of my favorite places on the planet to be at, Dick's Sporting Good, along with Staples. Still got to work on that Staples sponsorship. So with that being said, I want to talk a little bit of the portal and the movement that's been going on. Terry, you did a good job in your research talking about what's happening with the women, man. But there's been some movement in the portal. Something that happened a couple of weeks ago, I think it's worth mentioning. Shout out to my alma mater, Western Michigan University, Coach Dwayne DJ Stevens. And coming home, that's Travion Maddox, who's been doing great things. Went to Novi High School, started at Oakland University, went out to Cal Fullerton, rocked out against Duke in the tournament, and he's coming home, man. I'll tell you what, they're going to give him the ball, and they're going to shoot that rock out there. I love the fact that he's coming home with that. Also, I want to get into another person that I know probably spent more time than I did with Travion. I probably dealt with Travion's dad, Trey's dad, more than him. But shout out to Julius Marble, making his way back to Texas. Great young man. We talk about the Joe Dumars of the world, the Willie Greens, man. This is just a nice young man, bright young man too, man. I can remember him being in the press events, guys, and he'd be like, "Look, I gotta go, man. I got my engineering homework to do." And I saw a couple comments made about him leaving and people not being aware, but he lost his dad, during the pandemic, and he is from Texas, so it's been a struggle. He's had his time. He wants to head back home, and you can't begrudge the young man for that. But it just pisses me off, man, when I read these blogs and see people so quick to want to just, pretty much make a decision for the kid. Why you leaving and blame like, dog, shut your mouth. You don't even know what's going on, and be happy for him. Right. What do you think you're going to get going to Texas A&M, leaving time, Mizzo? It's just like this mentality of damn near ownership, or like he can't make his own decision, but he's a good dude. He's going to be straight. Orlando, what do you think about both, Marble as well as Maddox, hitting the transfer portal to get closer to home? Because I guess what we can take from this is we see guys, jumping in the portal, guys and girls, for those NIL opportunities. But now we're seeing guys jumping in the portal to get closer to home, to come back home in both these particular cases. What do you think, Orlando?
Right. That's that's the flip side of the transfer portal. It has its good points and its bad points. I think, for a kid to actually have the ability to make that move or negotiate his move back closer to home or where he feels comfortable, it is a fantastic opportunity to have, an opportunity they didn't have before.
Right.
So, like I say, this transfer portal is interesting.
Transfer portal is a piece of it all. What do you think, Terry? These guys headed back home.
Man, I mean, I think it's a great opportunity for him again, just having that ability to go home and not miss a beat, not miss a year. I think we saw the hesitancy of players who wanted to leave but couldn't because they knew they'd have to miss that year. So I think it's really cool. I mean, Texas A&M is not a bad team.
No,
not at
all.
They have some players in the league like Caruso, Daniel House. Guys that have played pretty well there. I mean, they obviously didn't live up to the hype this year, but I think for them to get a guy like Julius Marble, obviously he sees something that he can add to their squad, and you can never go wrong adding a guy like Julius Marble on that team. So I think it's a great opportunity for guys to see their worth and to come home because obviously they see a need, and family always is before sports. I mean, we see guys miss games due to family matters, so it's cool to see that they're able to still do what's best for them and still keep their priorities straight.
Yeah, I like that. Staying with you, Terry, you did a lot of great research regarding some women and their movement in the portal, particularly with Maryland and some other program. What is that you uncovered that you think we should touch on right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think Maryland, man, and women's basketball, they had a very down year. A lot of the top players that we've seen, like Ashley Owusu, Angel Reese, girls that are just leaving. And it's kind of weird because you don't really hear it. I mean, Brenda Freeze is such a great coach over these course of the years. The run she had with Lexi Brown, Kimbrough, and all those girls that were doing really well. And it's just really cool to see women's basketball getting into this transfer portal madness because it gives them more things to add to their game. I mean, I saw rumors about maybe WNBA having a G League. I mean, man, like why not? I mean, it's just more things to add to it as this game continues to evolve. And I think it's really cool to see something that's so new in the men's basketball that's expanding. It's really nice to see how women's college basketball is also. And so I think Maryland's basketball team, not used to having that down year, getting bounced pretty early than what they'd like, and having so many people leave. But then they've also been getting some very great players coming back in, some great shooters, great scorers, and great defenders. So, I mean, they're not missing a beat, but it's interesting to see some of their top athletes, top star recruits leaving, having a mass exodus, and then having top well-seasoned players from different schools, smaller schools, but definitely have the experience coming in. So it'll be interesting how long that run lasts, bringing those people who may not be there as long, may have a few years under a few years left. So it'll be interesting to see how they turn around with having such a down year.
Very good, man. Who bought a scoop? I want to stay on that. Just as you talked about the WNBA having a G League, Who Bought a Scoop says the WNBA would benefit from a G League. Chini Angumike, if I'm saying her name correctly, I know who she is. Yeah. She's saying this because a lot of first-round picks the past few years have been getting cut out of the WNBA. I think the league should expand at least 2 to 4 more teams. I think the league just doesn't have the capacity to do it, and I've heard, before that, basically the WNBA had been underwritten by the NBA. And let's be honest, some people in the NBA weren't really happy with it, felt that it was a drag on their finances. I'm not knocking the WNBA and women having the opportunity to play at the highest level, but I think there's some other logistic issues that go with that. Where the money comes from, it's not for me to speak on, but yeah, that would be great, because it makes no sense that, you stand up on one night, you get drafted, put a hat on, and say you go be with this team, and then you end up getting cut. And from what Hoopball Scoop said, it's a significant occurrence. I'm like, wow, that's heavy, man. That's heavy. With that being said, guys, I'm sorry, Orlando, do you have anything you want to add to one of those issues?
Oh no, it's just that the idea of a G League for the WNBA, I would have to agree with Hoopball Scoop. It doesn't make sense for me for them to start a G League. They're barely getting a decent salary now. So expansion seems to be the only logical thing, instead of supporting, their own G League.
Go ahead, Terry.
I was gonna say, it's just so tough, because you see, it'd be so great, but then logistic wise, can we make it happen? But it just sucks to see so many great talents around the league having to get cut, and then their only option is to go overseas. And then the overseas countries, they keep them, like they don't want them to go. And so they're like, they're willing to pay.
Yeah, they keep them. They put them in jail.
No point intended.
Sorry, BG. We're going to talk about BG in a minute.
No point intended, I guess, from what I was saying. But
yeah, I know.
They keep them over there because it's like they see the value over there. So it's hard, because you're able to keep them in the WNBA and
they're not competing. They're not competing with any other leagues. Think about it. They're not competing.
Right. Exactly. So it's just you can see the benefits, but actually putting that together might be something years down the road when they're able to get more coverage and as the game continues to grow.
Yeah, I want to share this Moni's comment, kind of following up on Marble's exodus. I'm a big Michigan State fan. I'm worried about our team next year. Is there any rumors of who we going after? Marble, I see, went back home to Texas. I see we're going to have a role player team again.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's knowing your basketball. What we say, Orlando, these young ladies know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
When Izzo was at the game against Memphis, and with the Memphis versus the Warriors game, and they showed the players there, that kind of encapsulated what Moni is saying. It was AJ Hoggart and Malik, Malik Hall, and I got I like both those guys. I like Malik a lot, but I was like, this it? You know what I'm saying? These are stars of the team. Now, Max Christie probably got 1 year left. He's going to test the draft. He didn't get he's going to do what Aaron did several years ago, and get fine-tuned and come back and be out in a year. But it has its ups and downs. Now they got the guy Kohler out, I think he coming out from the West Coast, coming in. He played in the Allen Iverson game, dunked out, But I just think, just like we were saying earlier with Joe Dumars and the Pistons, programs have their ebbs and flows, man. They go up and they go down. And with Tom, I just think that Tom has to really make a point to lock in, because Tom's window is getting smaller and smaller, man. And then if they can't really get jiggy with it, I can't believe I just said that as it relates to name, image, and likeness. I don't know where that came from. And
they got the money to do it, though. They got the money to do it. I mean, come on.
Tom don't like to spend money, though.
Come on. That's what I'm saying.
Terry, I'm just trying to tell you, Tom is a youper through and through. He is not about spending that bread. Now, it's not to say it's money out of his pocket, but it's going to take some people around him to urge, like, dude, you got to spend. He ain't never been that kind of dude, man. Tom do not want to spend, man. Tom still got a flip phone. Matter of fact, I think he just got rid of the flip phone. Tom is like that. So we'll see if that carries over. We'll see if that carries over. We're going to keep it going, man, staying what we got going on. I do want to go back to a couple NBA comments, and one was Hoops Hype says, what's up with James Harden game? No, ain't nothing up with his game. That is his game.
No motor.
Is his game. Yeah, he got nothing for you. He got nothing for you. I don't like to use the word choker, and I know it is what it is. But see, James Harden, I think, rode a great wave several years ago coming out of OKC. He got in and got what he had to get, but he is not a competitor when it comes to that. That's why it happens all the time. Late, when the games get late, or as we start advancing further into the playoffs, he disappears. He disappears. And who you gonna blame now? You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, staying with that same subject, his trade buddy, Ben Simmons is going in for surgery. It's going to be out 3 to 4 months. So I guess, does that mean that people were wrong when they was talking about him because he really need to have surgery, or he like, look, we got to do something. I don't care if you just remove the tattoo off my back. You got to do something. What do y'all think?
Man, the surgery he had, I was listening to the Shannon talk about this morning. Shannon said he had something similar to that, and he was talking about how serious that is. I mean, for us to be saying, man, he could have played, but then to have that kind of surgery, it's like, man, he really wasn't faking. I mean, yeah, it can still be a mental thing, but and you could ask, like, man, where did this come from? But the point is, that's what he has, and the doctors feel like surgery needs to be done. Now, from what I've learned over the course of the years, no player or team wants surgery. Surgery is the last resort, from my understanding. Surgery is like, man, let's just do it, and maybe it will kind of go back to maybe 80%. Like surgery, like that's the last thing. I mean, ACL surgery still scares some people, but it needs to be done. You know, so it's like it's one of those things where like they're hoping and they're very optimistic about it. I think having this done now while the season's still on its end right now and still playoffs is being played, it's good to go ahead and get this done so that he can start getting ready to be back maybe about 10 or 15 games in the season next year. So it's good that they're doing this now, but again, it just shows that like we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. Like, yeah, we love if Ben were in the game, but if Ben's not ready to play, only Ben knows that, and we kind of just got to respect that and move on. We can have our speculation, but look, Ben's having surgery. I mean, you don't say you're going to play and maybe have rumors that you're playing and then have surgery the next week. It's just, you don't hear that.
You can't fake that surgery. You can't say that's a conspiracy and they putting stuff out there. You got people's integrity that come into play. This is for you, Terry, in this Lansing area. Is the Moneyball program coming back this summer? And Aim High is gone. Where would they have it? To be put this way, I've been sworn to secrecy. I got an excellent source. And all I'm going to say is keep your Tuesdays and Thursday evenings available. I just say that much. That's all I can say. And we leave it at that, So I can't confirm or deny. How about that, Orlando? I can't confirm or deny. How about that?
It may or may not be.
I wouldn't book nothing on no Tuesdays and Thursdays. Put it that way, and that's gonna be an exciting time. Shout out to Desmond Ferguson and the Moneyball program, guys. We got one more topic we want to get at before we get out of here. We got Terry McCord Jr. right here. Will the surgery give him an excuse not to play again at a certain level? I think that we've seen the most. I think we saw the most of him, man, at LSU. His freshman year at LSU, man. I mean, I think we saw it because when he got into this league and he may be light-skinned, look like he grew up on 7 Mile, look like he grew up on Seymour Street up in Lansing, but that brother is from a different culture, bro. I'm just saying.
But Lindsay, just a question. If you look at it in today's society and the way medical science is and the testing that these cats go through during the trade process,
right.
What went on? Why did they take him?
I was gonna say they got to pass a physical.
Right.
I mean, I think it's
so. I'm making that type of investment
because they got the first round picks,
and maybe that's up to his representation that makes it look like, hey, we only go show him what we want to show him. We're only going to expose him to what we want to expose him to. But at this point, like we said last week, Orlando, have they addressed the mental? I won't say mental health, but I'll say the mental toughness issue.
Right.
And if you can't point to somebody that's getting it done and spending time with it, or put me on a clutch jet so we can go get something done, I don't know what to tell you. With that being said, we're going to get to the final topic right here. And I know there were some other things people wanted to discuss, but we just got to really stay on task right here, man. I thought it was worth talking about Brittney Griner. U.S. reclassifies WNBA star Brittney Griner as wrongfully detained by Russia, sources say. Now, let me tell you why this is important. Now, this is a big deal. We want to bring her home, but the changing of the classification takes it from her and her family being told not to talk about it because you don't want Russia or Putin to use her as a pawn and staying low key. But all of a sudden, along with it being reclassified, you also hear the WNBA they're putting her initials, they put her name on the court, so they're starting this campaign. And also another name that you hear, and if anything go down, man, call him for me. Former Governor Bill Richardson, who was an excellent hostage negotiator. I met him several years ago. I was always a big fan of his back in my political life. He's negotiated and brought hostages home from Saddam Hussein. I think Gaddafi, the biggest killers in the world, you send Bill Richardson in, he bring your people home. So they say he's getting involved in it. I think that's a great, great sign going forward. What's going on? Here's my mom saying Richardson's going to bring her home. That's it. When Bill Richardson get involved, it's going down. You know, he worked them back channels. Shout out to my guy Wu Payne. My guy, what up with you, Wu Payne? We out here talking that good talk. We're getting ready to wrap up the show. We want to wish you all the best and everything you got going on. You got the Woo League going on, the program that'll be going on in Detroit, just like we talking about programs here in Lansing area, but we got the Woo League going on in Detroit, and James Payne will be making it happen. So, Orlando, you put your political hat on. You know, shout out to Latasha Prince. Hey, cousin, appreciate you. Would you say, hey, auntie? Hey, auntie. Let you put your political hat back on, Orlando. When you hear the Bill Richards of the world getting in, when you hear them reclassifying her status, when you hear the WNBA putting her name on the course, you know, what does that make you think going forward?
I mean, for me, it really worries me, to be quite honest, that it's taking that turn where something that was just they're trying to keep it, you know, keep it below the radar. Now all of a sudden we see a sudden change in the whole climate. I mean, for me, I mean, we know there's very little information coming out, but it doesn't sit right with me, you know, because you would think that the team that she plays for in Russia would be advocating for her release because they have.
That's a bad look. I'm not going to sign with them.
Right. You know, so I don't get the whole thing.
I get over there trying to go home. They find a 40-ounce in my bag that was Terry's, and they be like, "You stand." I'm like, "Man, that wasn't mine. That was Terry's." You know, so that's not even a good look for the people they want. Right. In the politics, Terry, what do you think about this whole piece of hearing the propaganda change and the language change and the heavy hitters come in for Brittney Griner?
No, I think it's great because I mean we're seeing once the language starts changing. Because first it was Russian prisoner, and now she's classified as something a little bit more severe. And it's like, oh, she's wrongfully detained. And now it's like, once you enter wrongfully, now you're getting everybody all hands on deck. You're bringing Richardson in. You're bringing these different experts on how to bring her home. And
well, they probably want to do their back channel research to make sure they can CYA, to make sure that they wasn't jumping out in front. Now, one could argue when it's somebody who looks opposite of Brittney Griner and represents all these, you know, feminine mainstream qualities that the U.S. love to promote, they jump on there without no question. So it's still a level of bias. I mean, you know, how long has it been since she's been over there? My God, if she continues to play, what kind of player is she going to be? Oh, my God. You know, if she unleash her inner beast. But I'm sorry, Terry, I jumped in on that. You know, I'll let you finish that.
Yeah, and I think also, too, with the war, you know, still in Ukraine right now and how the U.S. is feeling about what Russia's doing, I think they're understanding that with things going the way they are over there, it may be a little harder. So they need to get the big guns in because, you know, they understand what Richardson's ability to bring people home. And so I think it's really great to see that, you know, we're moving in the right direction. We're actually calling what it is. I mean, she's being detained wrongfully. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, she didn't do anything, but I'm saying just 10 years, what I think I heard was crazy. I mean, it doesn't make sense. But I do think the question right there, Tina Boo, before June, I think it's just so hard. I think we just have to know how things will work. I mean, we got our big gun in there talking now, so I think it's like maybe, but I think I would say more so at the end of the summer or midsummer, my guess. But I would love before June.
But you know what? I would say normally when you hear this, these things don't take long. You know, Bill Richardson might jump on the jet tonight and shoot over there. And what you would find, you would hear is she's released. But what they're probably trying to leverage, some other resources, some other things, you know, whatever it may be. Because whether they want some cigars or some vodka, something's going on, man. But we want to work for the best. I just want to say to all of our followers, we appreciate the support we've been having. I appreciate having the opportunity to talk about these different subjects. But I will say it really helps us in the show if we can stay consistent with the topics that we post, because Orlando, as well as myself and Terry, we spend a lot of time researching this so we can be informed with the topics we talk about. And it's not that we don't want to talk about different topics, but if a topic comes up, you know, within a short amount of time, if we can't speak on it as an informed individual, it's not really good for us or the show. Would you guys agree with that? Is it fair to say that? They say I can talk about anything. So what you talking about? Well, let that just be me. Let that just be me saying I don't want people to feel that what they put out there is not something we want to address. But for my sake, from a media standpoint, I want us to be in a position to be as well informed as possible. For example, I saw somebody put some breaking news up about somebody going to a certain school. Well, I couldn't confirm that. So we can't talk about that because what I don't want to do is this be a news source is giving out illegitimate information. I looked up the information. I didn't see any of the major news networks touching on that. So we got to be careful with that. So I just want to put that out there. We appreciate you guys' support. But before we get out of here, you guys want to share anything else, Orlando or Terry?
I'm on.
With that, guys, we'll see you next week. We'll be off the week of the 19th, but we'll be back the following week. But we will see you guys next week. This is Lindsay Hudson with SBS. Thank you guys for checking in with us, and we appreciate you. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.